Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So now guys, it looks as though the first son of the Nigerian state, at least the first son of the Malamis, but really the first son of the Nigerian state, it looks as though the first son of the Nigerian state has been a very naughty boy. I am talking of course about the richest black man on the planet, but alas, it looks as though Baba like better things. Guys, I bring you this: how my ex-girlfriend tried to extort $5 million from me. Who is saying this? Aliko Dangote, of course, the champion amongst the black race, the world's richest black man, a Nigerian from the northern region, Kano State especially. So now this guy now, I never knew he was a Mr. Lover, but apparently from all of the little snippets that has been coming out over the past few months or so, it looks as though our dear oil merchant and rice farmer and cement maker has been a very naughty boy. Again, the headline: how my ex-girlfriend tried to extort $5 million from me, a headline attributed to Aliko Dangote. So now let's now find out what this love tryst is all about. Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, has told a U.S. court how his former American girlfriend, who exposed a part of his body via a social media post, is trying to extort $5 million from him. Correspondents exclusively obtained the document of a civil suit he filed with a pseudonym against the lady identified as Autumn Spikes at a Miami-Dade County court in Florida, United States of America. The wealthy businessman used the pseudonym John Doe with a D that stands for the acronym for his name, Aliko Dangote, as his alias. He seeks excess of $30,000 in damages against Ms. Spikes. One of the court documents filed by the plaintiff on January the 22nd is titled Complaint Petition for Declaratory Judgment Complaint for about Extortion Petition for Injunctive Relief. The document, amongst others, obtained by correspondents, accused Ms. Spikes of libel, defamation, cyber-stalking, and a breach of agreement to keep their relationship private and off social media. It stated that Mr. Dangote's business acumen has made him a target for coercion by the defendant, adding that Ms. Spikes demanded meritless claim of $5 million in the nature of palimony to which she is not legally entitled. Palimony is an amount of money a law court orders someone to pay regularly to a former partner whom they were living with but were not married to. Autumn Spikes has made a demand that the plaintiff pay her $5 million as shown in Exhibit 1. Mr. Dangote's court documents state the affair between Mr. Dangote and Ms. Spikes first came to public knowledge on January the 1st when the lady using the Instagram handle Alaronda1 posted a video clip showing herself seated and Mr. Dangote stretched on a couch. The image, which went viral on social media, appeared to have been captured during their good times together. It showed most of Mr. Dangote's body covered in an orange blanket but with his buttocks exposed whilst he fiddled with his phone. Ms. Spikes also shared other images of the billionaire but later deleted them. In later updates, she said she did not make her affair public on social media to acquire fame. She also claimed her action was aimed at helping Mr. Dangote clear his name of the embarrassment caused by another ex-mistress of the businessman, Bay Lewis, who exposed their intimate affairs on social media. Mr. Dangote had tried to quickly end his relationship with Ms. Spikes. In addition to ending the relationship, he asked Ms. Spikes for a non-disclosure agreement (NDA) about their affair, Ms. Spikes demanded $5 million through her representative in exchange for the NDA. The demand was followed by an email by Mr. Dangote's lawyer, Mr. Fletcher, to Ms. Spikes' lawyer, Paul Petruzzi, on January the 13th, asking for the basis of Ms. Spikes' demand. Responding to Mr. Fletcher's email, Mr. Petruzzi described the affair between his client and the billionaire as an ongoing intimate relationship for nearly the entire past decade since she was pretty young. Mr. Petruzzi added in the email that the relationship was quite involved and pretty interesting, and insisted that Mr. Dangote must pay his client the sum of $5 million in exchange for the NDA. He stated, for whatever reason, your client broke off the relationship as soon as one of his other conquests broke her silence. Your client now wants my client to sign an NDA, and through his representatives offered her money to do so. Whilst I appreciate your client's desire to continue to exercise his control over mine, she will only agree to the NDA proposed by your client in exchange for the lump sum of $5 million. Mr. Dangote filed the email exchange as Exhibit 1 in his suit. The wealthy businessman noted in a suit that Ms. Spikes had in the past requested financial assistance from him to start up a business. He said he agreed to grant her the assistance on the condition that it remained confidential. His court document read in part, Autumn Spikes demanded from the plaintiff assistance as an entrepreneur in a startup business when there was no loan commitment nor oral or written promise. The plaintiff once announced an oral willingness to provide entrepreneurial assistance to Autumn Spikes on the condition that it would be confidential and private. He said he later started seeing social media posts and planned media talk shows done to expose him and make his life miserable if he fails to comply with the demand for $5 million. John Doe's generosity towards Autumn Spikes, if any, has been breached by Autumn Spikes' exposure and solicitation to talk show media houses if he fails to pay her meritless demand. He added, he maintained that he had the right to stop being generous to her and demand a refund of the funds he had given her to assist her business in the past. The businessman who described Ms. Spikes' alleged demands as meritless extortive demands said such are not protected by the First Amendment freedom of speech and are barred, and then it goes on to quote the statute that bars it in Florida. He alleged that Ms. Spikes continued her illegal demands and threatened that should he fail to pay her the money, she would subject him to nasty and untrue publicity. He said she also threatened to take the matter to social media, including Facebook and Instagram. He stated, Autumn Spikes continues illegal demands for a plaintiff to pay her what he does not owe her under the threat that he will be a victim of nasty and or untrue publicity in order to induce payment of support in the form of alimony as if she was married to the plaintiff. Defendant has threatened communication on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and others. John Doe has a right to terminate his generosity and to obtain from Ms. Spikes a refund of the monies he had given her to assist her in starting a business. Meanwhile, Mr. Dangote said the alleged demand by Ms. Spikes is embarrassing and upsetting, and that she demands support in lieu of marriage or alienation of affection when she is not entitled to the same. He also accused her of cyberstalking and making demands for money in exchange of release of private information if he does not pay the proverbial ransom described above. Amongst his prayers are a non-jury trial, damages, and award of refund of all those monies she claims plaintiff paid her, court cost, and such remedies as available under the law. The plaintiff insists that Miss Pikes had proposed to expose her relationship with him if he fails to compensate her with $5 million, support her, or marry her. He added that her media posting violates the plaintiff's agreement with the defendant that their relationship was private and not subject to social media or talk shows. He wants the defendant restrained from demanding payment in exchange for non-disclosure of their relationship. Mr. Dangote's lawyer described him in the court document as a wealthy entrepreneur whose business acumen has made a target of coercion by the defendant. The lawyers said their client used pseudonyms to institute the case to avoid unnecessary media attention and avert coercion to pay the money demanded by Ms. Pikes. The plaintiff, John Doe, also known as AD, is a foreigner and for the purpose of this action employs the pseudonym John Doe in order to avoid unnecessary publicity designed to impair his right to privacy and to coerce his payment of money he does not owe Autumn Spikes, the document reads. So that is the long-winded but detailed breakdown now of the situation that Aliko Dangote has found himself in. So he likes those American hot dog babes, those Beyonce, you know, all those padded up Instagram types, and of course he can afford any type of babe that he wants, so he's no longer satiated by the beauties of the Nigerian female. He has now gone to America to have a hot dog, but it looks as though the hot dog now that he has had in America is a bit spicy and a bit expensive as well, at the cost of $5 million. But really what concerns me, because there's a lot of pettiness in this, but then there's also a lot of sticking to your principles. So the pettiness is this guy now demanding the monies that he had given this woman to start up her business, haven't enjoyed rather the pleasures that she brings for a good decade, which is 10 years. So all of those are enjoyments that he has been enjoying. We all saw that image of him lounge on a couch, completely naked, except of course with the covering of a blanket. We all saw that image, and I think we all saw a clip as well. I'm not sure if I saw a clip somewhere floating around that this lady put out. So he had all those enjoyments, and in exchange was supporting this woman's business. But now that everything has broken down, the man that is now the world's richest man is now demanding $30,000 from this woman. Is absolutely ludicrous. So that is ludicrous, but he is right to stick to his guns by not paying her off that $5 million, because if he had paid her off that $5 million, then he would not have stayed, it would not rather have stayed at that $5 million. It is almost certain that she would come back as soon as she knows that he's plowable and malleable to manipulation and blackmail. So it was blackmail money effectively. So the non-disclosure in exchange for $5 million is blackmail. So if you don't pay me back by $5 million, then I would release information about you, and as a teaser to let you know that I will make that threat good. Here is an image of yourself naked in my apartment on Instagram. So that is the messaging. But then of course I would also call this girl cheap, because if she had devoted and dedicated 10 good years of her life to this guy, there is nothing that stops her for just going for broke and demanding $500 million or $100 million, just demanding an outrageous amount of money and then forcing this guy into a negotiating position, and then she could have just walked away with her $5 million or $50 million. So she clearly is not especially clever, and he obviously is extremely stingy. So this is now the situation that the Nigerian #1 fine boy, Mr. Bombastic, this is the situation that he has found himself in, rollicking and frolicking with a spicy American hot dog. What says you? Come share thoughts. But before you come into the comment section to gist about Aliko, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. The bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Click on like as well because that helps the YouTube algorithm. Once you've done all the clickings, our Nigerian #1 fine boy has been a naughty boy in America. Come share thoughts about all this with me in the comment section. So I'll leave you here. Carry this conversation with you in the comment section, but here I say peace.